wanted to actually talk about what happened to me the other day. Well, I had actually told somebody that I was going to do this ritual for her, somebody she knows, basically. I'll just put it at that. And the ritual is going to be to Dionysus.
Go clean your room, I've got bills to pay.
Basically, he's a god that reflects addiction and infinite life or eternal life.
I'm done, we'll go out and play.
The concept of it, to me, the symbology, and it just for this particular situation, it's just kind of the right deity to do this ritual to. I was actually gonna put it up on YouTube, and I still probably am, but I'm kind of excuse me, late. I'm very late with doing everything. First, I'm going to be doing affirmation, then I'll follow up with the actual ritual. But before I actually did any of this, I was thinking to myself, well, I'm going to have her do some kind of sacrifice, non-animal sacrifice. But then I pretty much have to do something too. What is it that I'm going to be doing? I kept on thinking about what I could do for Dionysus. And it's pretty weird because, or not weird, but just practical, I guess, because about 11 o'clock I got a phone call from a guy who was really, I guess you could say that he was going through a really bad metamorphosis time in his life, which I totally understand because I've actually been there myself. And it's like, okay. And he started saying he needed help and needed cleansing and everything he was going through, so on and so forth. I could have told him to get lost. 11 o'clock at night, right? What happens is my phone actually rings in, kind of like to my personal line. Yeah. So sometimes this happens. But something just told me, I just got this feeling like I need to listen to this guy. So I listened. He also said that he was kind of, down on his luck, kind of broke, too, at the end. And once again, I could have just, thought, oh, well, fuck you, buddy. But I didn't do that. I'll tell you why. Okay, because when it feels like you're getting any kind of inclination from a deity, you listen. And that's exactly what was going on here. I didn't really know the gravity of it. I maybe didn't know everything that was involved until I actually saw the guy. I told him, okay, tell you what, you want to come down, meet me at the store at, midnight, and I'll just go ahead and give you everything you need for purification and run down a few things with you. He was like, oh, okay, thank you so much. Well, half the time people don't really show up when they actually have an appointment. Even if it's just an hour later, they usually don't show up half the time. But this guy actually showed up early. That was the kicker for me. It's like, okay, this guy really does have problems. So I went outside, talked to the guy for a long time, I'd say about a half an hour or so. And it was really remarkable because there was so many things that happened in this guy's life recently that, it was pretty much in your face. Dionysus was having some kind of impact in his life. The guy got into addiction, then he got into a coma, and you could say, well, typical, druggie or whatever, but no, it was definitely just the time in his life, and everything kind of crashed down on his head because of this addiction. And of course he smelled just a little bit of alcohol, not much. He was still very conscious and all that. He could really process everything I was telling him. And I did point out, next door to me, my only neighbor is Alcoholic Anonymous. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. And it's actually the religious side of AA. Although I'm not supposed to tell you that because, they're not anonymous, right? But anyhow, I'm glad that I had some kind of positive impact in somebody's life like that. And, I'm sure that Dionysus was there with us because I just kind of felt it. It was a very, very big impact. And I mentioned this to the guy about Dionysus and the whole 9 yards and my take on his metamorphosis. And I did mention to him, on the sign, that's either Silenus or Dionysus. Because I got a really old mold. It's probably from the 1800s and it's on the sign. And inside, in the hallway, I actually have a tapestry of Dionysus. So, yeah. And Dionysus was definitely there. And it's like, okay. Well, the guy actually said, I'm really down my luck. Maybe you could give me, credit or whatever. That's cool. I'll pay you back, definitely. But is there, any book that you can give me? And that's the kicker right there. When people start asking for books, yeah, they really are interested and they're really into it. So it's like, well, yeah, no problem. I actually went back into the store to see if I could give them a pendant or something, maybe some kind of amethyst pendant or whatever. But it's like at that point, I just felt, I call it Dionysus, talking through me or talking to me inside. And it's like, no, what you need to do is you need to give him this music. And there was a certain music that was actually really prevalent that I felt like I had to, or I wanted to give him to connect more with, Dionysus, maybe finding his way, so on and so forth. So I gave him that, and I gave him actually a book on goddess meditations. And the reason why is because he was having some female problems in his life. And I really felt that, he really needed to get in touch with some of the feminine energy inside himself and outside in the world to connect with it so that, because of the thing that he was going on in his life. So he basically didn't, look at the feminine energy really bad. Or start to. I don't know how to explain it. It just felt right at the time, so that's what I did. And that's what kind of called to me to do. So that's what happened to me the past few days.